So you're moving to Atlanta and you're going to be living in the city and you want to live in a walkable neighborhood. Well, good news for you. That's what I'm covering today. I've got a list of 10 walkable neighborhoods. Now, I will say some are much more walkable than others. So depending on what you're wanting, you better listen in to make sure that the walkable neighborhood you're considering is going to fit your criteria of a walkable neighborhood. So let's get into it. Let's talk all about living in Atlanta right now. Hey guys, my name is Molly and welcome to my channel. If you are new or returning and you're wanting to know everything there is about living in the city of Atlanta, I'm talking eating, sleeping, playing, working here in this area, well, I'm your gal. You've come to the right place. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and hit that bell if you want to be notified when I post a new video about an Atlanta neighborhood. I'm here just to help you make sure that you find a neighborhood that fits your lifestyle and your budget. So, hey, if you got questions for me, bring them on, put them in that comments box below, shoot me a text, give me a call, send me an email. I love helping you guys out that are moving to the Atlanta area from out of state or maybe just from the burbs into the city. This is what I love to do, helping you guys out. Love hearing getting your calls and your emails and texts. So keep them coming, guys. So today we're talking about walkable neighborhoods. Now, if you've never experienced a walkable neighborhood, you probably don't know what you are missing out on. And I'll be honest, I lived in Houston, I lived in the burbs, and I was just happy to have a house, and granted, suburbs are gonna be a little bit cheaper. But, if I wanted to go to the grocery store, get a coffee, go, anywhere where there was a shop or somewhere to hang out at, I had to get in my car, drive a couple miles, and you get used to it. It's not a big deal. Then I moved to Atlanta, and Atlanta has a lot of walkable neighborhoods and in the city. And once I experienced that, I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing. Walking a block or two to go get some breakfast, or walking a few other blocks to run around the big Piedmont Park. I mean, once you experience it, you can't unexperience. That's all I gotta say. Now, I'm not dissing the suburbs at all. The suburbs, there's great advantages to living in the suburbs. You have more space, it's less crowded, you get a lot more house, and a lot of these Atlanta suburbs actually have created these town squares. So you really get that walkable feeling, and you can, just immerse yourself in walking around to a coffee shop and hanging out in the town square park and that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, a lot of these, you have to hop in your car, drive back home. And, if you've had a couple too many drinks, then you're going to have to get an Uber, can't walk home. So all I'm saying is walkable neighborhoods are just an amazing experience. And like I said, once you've experienced it, you can't unexperience. So I'm going to cover 10 neighborhoods that I think are very walkable. And like I said, some are going to be a lot more walkable than others. So let's just get right into it. Perhaps the number one walkable neighborhood in Atlanta is Virginia Highland. If you do any kind of research, Virginia Highland's always going to be making that list. I'm a little biased. I live in Virginia Highland, so I love it. But here's why Virginia Highland is so walkable. No matter where you live in Virginia Highland, you can walk to the main area with all the shops and the restaurants, which is the intersection of Virginia and Highland. That's how, Virginia Highland got its name. But beyond that, thanks to the Beltline that is now here in Atlanta. And if you don't know what the Beltline is, I've got a whole vlog tour on the Beltline, but it's a walking, jogging trail. It's a 22-mile loop around the city. It's not quite all the way done, but it's very, very popular here in the in-town Atlanta areas. You can pop on it, go to another neighborhood, have something to eat, walk home. And it's just a great place to get exercise, ride your bike, walk your dog, push a stroller, that kind of thing. So very, very popular to live by the Beltline. And Virginia Highland does run up along the Beltline. So if you live on the more western side of the Virginia Highland area, you have very quick access over to the Beltline. And plus it's, probably depending on where you live in Virginia Highland, under a mile to Piedmont Park, which always hosts a lot of different festivals. There's a big dog park there. There's a public swimming pool. The list goes on and on. So a lot of different things that you can walk to. I mean, literally you could just park your car on the weekend, not have to, get in your car, and you can enjoy shops, restaurants. You could even walk to a grocery store if you want to. But hey, when I go grocery shopping, I'm not buying one bag of stuff. I'm buying like a carload full. So I never walk to the grocery store, but you could if you just needed like one or two different items. So Virginia Highland is definitely one that is very sought after. The con about it is that the prices are pretty expensive. Now, a teardown in Virginia Highland can start in the $600 to $700K range. So you can kind of see from there that, even if you have a budget of $800 to $900K, your money's not going to take you very far in this neighborhood. You're going to get something that's a little quirky and needs fixing up. But there are some condos. They're going to be older, charming condos here in the Virginia Highland area. So those can be in the range of, I'd say more like the $300K range on average, give or take. And there are some townhome options too. I know there's a couple different complexes that are newer, and they're in the $600K range. But yeah, so it is, it is an expensive neighborhood, but they do have some, smaller living options. Maybe you're just looking for your first place. You could still live in the Virginia Highland, at the lower price point for, Virginia Highlands, so to speak. But yeah, Virginia Highland, probably number one on my list. Number two on my list would be Old Fourth Ward. Now, the Old Fourth Ward has really blossomed over the last 6 to 7 years, thanks in part to one, the Beltline, and two, the big Ponce City market development. It's a huge food hall and has just a lot of fun things you can do there. There is like an arcade with like a bar and a restaurant on the rooftop. Lots of different shops, lots of dining options. So that's a great place to hang out. You can pop on the Beltline, go down a little bit, and there's like the New Realm Brewery and a couple other little restaurants. And then you can pop on down a little further and you'll be in Inman Park. And Old Fourth Ward is a very, very big area. So whether you live on the northern side of Old Fourth Ward or the southern side, you're still going to have pretty good access to the Beltline and be right next to Inman Park, which has the Krog Street Market, another food hall. So lots to do right there in the Old Fourth Ward area. And you're also really close to Midtown if you want to go catch a show at the Fox Theater. And you're also not very far from getting over to Piedmont Park. So Old Fourth Ward is very, very popular. Lots of apartment buildings there, lots of modern homes. I have a vlog tour about modern homes, and I highlight Old Fourth Ward as one of the great options of where you can find an Old Fourth or a modern home, whether that be a townhome or a single family home. And I would say the prices in the Old Fourth Ward, they're not quite as expensive as Virginia Highland, but they are still a little bit pricey, but they probably have a lot more loft options and condo options than Virginia Highland would be. So that's a great spot, especially if I was younger and single. I'd probably live or consider the Old Fourth Ward area. Number three on my list, maybe I should have put this at number two. It's kind of a close call, but Inman Park. Inman Park is a small little community. It has some beautiful Victorian style homes, lots of smaller bungalows and bigger bungalows. And they have a nice stretch of restaurants. A lot of them are a little bit newer. And so Inman Park has definitely been a sought after location for a lot of people. And, since the neighborhood is pretty small, you can walk the entire neighborhood, get around pretty easily. And also the Beltline does rub up against Inman Park, so you can hop on there, go check out other places. But yeah, Inman Park has, like I said, the Krog Street Market, which is a food hall, and they're actually expanding onto that, which is kind of crazy. The parking around there is pretty awful, but they do have some great little restaurants there. One of my favorites is the Super Rica, which is a Tex-Mex place, and they also have, what's it called? It's a bunch of beers on tap. I'm drawing a blank on the name of that store that's in the Krog Street Market, but just a cool vibe area. Now, they have lots of townhomes. They've got some condo options. The one thing I will say is like Inman Park is pretty expensive, and sometimes you're paying a lot of money for a 2-bedroom house. It could be in the $800 to $900K range. And honestly, I feel like when homes pop up on Inman Park for sale, they quickly are under contract. People want to live there, and they will pay whatever it takes to get in that neighborhood. So you don't see a lot of homes coming and going on the market. They just, as soon as they get on the market, they are off. But yeah, it's a pretty cool place to hang out. Like I said, lots of restaurants and some little boutique shops and just easy access onto the Beltline. Number 4 on my list would be definitely Midtown. Now Midtown is going to be all of your high rise. That's going to give you the real true city life feeling. So if you're wanting to have like that city buzz and living up high in the sky, then Midtown would be a place for you. And what I love about Midtown is that if you're out walking on any of the streets there, there's just always people out walking around, coming to and fro. There's a lot of great restaurants, so it's a great place for a date night as well. Plus, you have Piedmont Park right there at the back door of your of Midtown. So you can always walk there and get a huge green space. So even if you have a dog in Midtown, there are a lot of condo complexes that try to accommodate owners with dogs, but you can always take them over to Piedmont Park, which is, less than a mile to mile and a half, depending on where you are in Midtown, but you can take them over there and let them stretch their legs there. But it's just a very close location for everyone to enjoy. Plus, Midtown has a lot of fun things happening on, but it's a very artsy area. It's got the Fox Theater, it's got the High Museum of Art, the Center for Puppetry Arts, plus all the cool parades always go down Peachtree Street in the Midtown area. So there is the St. Patty's Day parade, there's the Christmas parade, they do a Pride parade. If there's any kind of celebratory parade, like when the Braves won the World Series, they had a parade, and everything goes down Midtown. So it's definitely a cool spot to hang out and walk around, and yeah, lots of like bars and restaurants and that kind of thing. So Midtown is definitely a place for a lot of younger people that are, maybe it's young professionals, but there's some older people there that live there too. And plus you're right by the highway. So if you need to pop on the highway, you can easily do that. And there's a MARTA station there. So if you travel a lot, you can hop on that MARTA station really easily. You shouldn't have to walk too far. Ride that MARTA down to the airport. Boom, you're at the airport. You don't even have to take a car. So Midtown is definitely a very walkable area. Oh, and the Beltline. Now the Beltline isn't exactly right by Midtown, but you can pretty easily get down, just go down 10th Street and then you're on the Beltline. So I'd say probably give or take 1.5 to 2 miles, depending again where you live in Midtown, maybe even less than that, but the Beltline's not too far away. Number 5 on my list would be City of Decatur. Now it's not technically in Atlanta, but it's right next door, and there's a lot of people that live in Decatur. It feels like it's a part of Atlanta anyway. But the City of Decatur is really cool. They got all these restaurants right there. They got the Decatur Square. And so, a lot of these neighborhoods in the City of Decatur can walk over there and enjoy all that. They have some really good restaurants there. They've got some parks there, and there's another neighborhood in the City of Decatur called Oakhurst. They even have their own little neighborhood pocket there where there's some restaurants. So by the way, I have vlog tours on all of these neighborhoods. So if you want to get more detail on any of these neighborhoods that I'm talking about, you can just go to my channel and you can find these neighborhoods. I do a extensive vlog tour and show you around and show you the site, so you can check that out. But that's why you need to let me help you out, because I want to make sure that you're getting into a neighborhood that fits what you're looking for and what kind of vibe. And usually if I talk with you and I get a sense of what you're a couple of things that you like, then I can usually match make you to a neighborhood or two that might fit what you're looking for. So don't be afraid to hit me up, okay? So yeah, City of Decatur. Now that's going to be a lot more young families. City of Decatur has the best schools, and so there's going to be a lot of young families there. So I'd say if you're single, I probably wouldn't pick Decatur as a place to live, but it is an excellent location next to Emory. So if you work there, that is definitely great. The downside with Decatur is that they have really high taxes. Decatur's kind of funky. They have 2 tax bills that come out in a year. One of them is always a little bit higher, and the second one, I forget which one's first. Is it the lower payments, the first bill, and then you get slammed with the second bill, or if it's the opposite? But you get 2 tax bills in a year, and those tax bills are insanely expensive, and mainly because they have the top schools in the state. So you're going to be paying for that school system. So if you don't have kids, there's no reason to be paying those high City of Decatur taxes. Number 6 on my list. I can't even believe this is on my list now. Like, if you would have asked me 4 or 5 years ago, this would have never hit my walkable list. But Reynoldstown. Okay, Reynoldstown has come a long, long way. It used to be kind of a lot of homes that were neglected, and it has changed around. Now there's a lot of modern, new, fresh homes that are being built there. They're about to build a bunch of townhomes right there along the Beltline, and the Beltline does run through Reynoldstown. And Reynoldstown has a cute little coffee shop where you can bring your dog called Park Ground. So there's that. And then you can hop on the Beltline, go a little further south. There's this whole new area called Madison Yards. It has a Publix. It's got some casual restaurants like Salata. There's a First Watch. So if you're a breakfast person, you can go there, have some breakfast. And they've got a cool coffee place called Muchacho. They've served up some awesome breakfast tacos. So that's a cool hangout spot. And, you know, if you're kind of not wanting to go there, you just scoot up the Beltline and go over into Inman Park. It's probably a mile, less than a mile, and you have a bunch more restaurant options. So that's why I feel like it's very walkable. There may not be like a ton of restaurants in Reynoldstown. Like, it doesn't have like a Reynoldstown square of a bunch of restaurants, but you're so close with that Beltline access that you can get to these other little areas really, really quickly. I should mention that, you know, Reynoldstown, the price point there is going to be a little bit more reasonable than especially in Inman Park or Virginia Highland, but they haven't seen too many homes go over the $1 million mark yet, but I'm sure in a few years that will be more of the norm. So you could still get into Reynoldstown while it's a little bit cheaper. Okay, my number 7 walkable neighborhood. Now we're starting to get into where it's a walkable neighborhood, but it's not like over the top walkable. And here's what I mean by that. I'm saying that there's going to be an like center hub for this neighborhood, but you can't really mooch off of other neighborhoods and their cool spots because they're kind of isolated. So my number 7 walkable neighborhood would be East Atlanta. Now East Atlanta has a cool eclectic vibe. They have this East Atlanta village with some bars. They've got like a music scene there at some of these bars. They've got some restaurants. You know, it's definitely going to be a different little bit scenery because they've got more like, you know, you walk around, you'll see a bunch of murals on the side of the buildings, a lot of people with like tattoos, and but there's a lot of young families that live there. The schools are pretty good. So you can flock to this East Atlanta village area and just hang out. And so the closer you live to that, then it's very, very walkable. Now, there is a section of East Atlanta that's like further south, and people say, oh, I live in East Atlanta, but they live way, way, way south. That's not going to be walkable. You're walking, or you have to drive like 3 miles, and that's not really walkable in my opinion. So it would take you a little time to drive from the southern part of that neighborhood up to the East Atlanta village to enjoy those amenities. So you got to make sure that you're living near the East Atlanta village for it to be a walkable area. And it has a nice little park for, you know, if you've got kids. But the problem with East Atlanta is it is a little bit isolated thanks to I-20. So you can't exactly just pop up north. Walking there, you're going to probably get run over by the crazy traffic on Moreland. Across Moreland is Ormwood Park, which there's not a lot going on in Ormwood Park. There's a few little restaurants. And, you know, getting over to the Beltline, it would probably take a little bit over a mile to get over there. The problem is you have to cross that busy Moreland street. So yeah, East Atlanta is walkable, but again, you're kind of on an island. You're kind of stuck in the East Atlanta area. You can't really mooch off of your neighbors for their amenities as well. I will say East Atlanta is a little bit more affordable. So, you know, if your budget's somewhere in the 400, maybe I don't know if 400 will even do it anymore. I'd say like 500 to 700K range. You can find some bungalows there, some really nice homes too. I think the newer homes that are 5 bedrooms are going to be in the 800K range. But you know, if you're just wanting like a 2-1, you might actually be able to find something in the 400K range. So it really just kind of depends. But that's the one advantage of East Atlanta is it's going to be a little bit more affordable than some of the other neighborhoods I just mentioned. Number 8 on my walkable neighborhoods list would be Kirkwood. Kirkwood has a cute little downtown area with some restaurants, coffee shops, bars, that kind of thing. And they do have a couple of different parks. So no matter which side of Kirkwood that you live on, there's probably a park that you can access. And they do their own, it's like a small little town inside this big city. They have their own little festivals. And you can also get over to neighboring Oakhurst, which has a few more restaurant, coffee shops, that kind of thing, which isn't too far away. It really kind of just depends on where you live. And then on the other side of Kirkwood, you have Edgewood, which has that big retail district with like the Target, Lowe's, Bed Bath & Beyond, Kroger. So that you cannot walk to, but you can, like I said, the main little downtown area, you can definitely enjoy most likely anywhere you live in the Kirkwood area. And price ranges, I'd say, they're going to find some townhomes. You're not going to find a lot of condos or apartments really. It's just going to be a lot of bungalows. There are a lot of bungalows or craftsman style homes. And price range in Kirkwood, I'd say in the $500 and $100. Now I'm starting to see more homes in the $1 million range there, but there's a good range between that $500 to $1 million mark. Number 9 on my list, again, maybe I should have reordered these now that I'm thinking about it, but Grant Park. Grant Park is, just a little southeast of downtown. So great location to zip around either to the airport or downtown. But Grant Park is a pretty big neighborhood, and they have a really beautiful park called Grant Park, which includes the zoo. And so you can walk around that beautiful park area, get some exercise. Plus the Beltline runs along the southern edge of the whole entire neighborhood. The Beltline around there is not completed yet. It's just gravel, but eventually it will get paved. So that will be really nice. And Grant Park has little pockets of a few little restaurants on the northern side of the neighborhood, but clear down south, there is also an area called the Beacon, which is a rather newer development, and it runs right along the Beltline. So that would be really nice for people swinging by, passing through on the Beltline. They can hop off at the Beacon, which has a couple different breweries. There's a Mexican restaurant there. There's a coffee shop. So some cool little things right there that you can walk to. And you also have Summerhill, which that's going to be one of my next neighborhoods that it's on my list. Summerhill has some new restaurants to go and check out. So yeah, I think Grant Park is a fairly walkable neighborhood, and it has a ton of Victorian homes similar to Inman Park. Some are huge, and those can go over the $1 million mark. And Grant Park has gotten a lot more expensive over the years. Finding a home in the $400K range in Grant Park, it's going to be a very small bungalow. Might need a lot of work actually. But I would say anywhere, 500K range can be kind of hard in the Grant Park area too, but I would say anywhere in the $500 to $1 million range, you're going to find some nice, 3 to 4 bedroom homes in the Grant Park area. And wrapping up my list would be number 10, Summerhill, as I just mentioned. Now Summerhill, again, that would have not been on my list, 4 years ago, but Summerhill has just changed a lot, and they are still developing that area. But Georgia Avenue is kind of the hub of Summerhill now. It has changed. It's taken all these old abandoned buildings that are now some cool, trendy restaurants and more casual. There's a couple of nicer ones there, but I would just say very casual, and they are building up tons of townhomes all around there. It's also where the Georgia State Stadium is at. There's some student housing over there. They're building tons of apartment complexes over there, and it's all very, very walkable to the restaurants on Georgia Avenue. Now the Beltline is not exactly through Summerhill. You have to go either roughly a mile to a half a mile, depending on where you live in Summerhill, south, and then you would hit the Beltline, but it's not that far. And Summerhill's not that huge that no matter where you live, again, you could walk down over into grab something to eat or drink over off of Georgia Avenue. They also have a big green space called the Phoenix Park, so you can hang out there, play some tennis, shoot some basketball hoops. They've got the old Olympic practice track there, so if you're into running and sprints, you could go there and do some laps on the track there, which is pretty cool. So yeah, Summerhill, and yeah, like I said, Summerhill's next to Grant Park, so you could hop over there and enjoy the Grant Park amenities over at the Beacon as well. So yeah, it's a pretty cool spot. And I would say this is a lot more millennials, younger people that are moving into the Summerhill area. They have, like I said, a lot of townhomes, apartment complexes, and the single family homes. Now there's some older bungalows, some of them need some work. Then there's some nicer ones, and then there's also some like traditional style homes, and they can range in the 600K price point. Townhomes I think can be in the high fours, but you know, a new build in the Summerhill area right now is like in the 700K range. So, you know, I'd say anywhere in the 400 to 700K range is the majority of what you're going to, of the price points you're going to find in the Summerhill area. But pretty cool, new, trendy, hip spot to live in. Okay, you guys, so there's my list of 10 walkable neighborhoods in the Atlanta area. Of course, there are more neighborhoods in Atlanta that are semi-walkable. So, you know, if none of those float your boat, let me know, because I can give you some suggestions of other places that may have a little bit of some walkability, but just not quite as much as the other neighborhoods I've just described. So, hey guys, that's all I have for you today. Hope this helped you out. Like I said, if you got questions, contact me. You can put those comments in the comments box below, shoot me a text, give me a call, send me an email. I love hearing from you guys, and I'm just helping you out. I want to help you out, so don't hesitate to reach out and give me a call. But until next time, you guys, I'll see you around the neighborhood.